Hello, my name is Samuel, and you're watching YOLIC TV.
Well, I think discipline is ability to live by what's right. That's the simplest definition I can give it. And for as much as discipline can be regulated by someone, I think it's up to one being to decide on whether they want to be disciplined or not. Then when we come to the spiritual aspect, for a Christian to be specific, I think the most basic definition of discipline is fearing God. Once I, as a Christian, as an individual, start fearing God, I become disciplined in His presence. Psalm 128 reads, if I am correct, "Blessed are those who fear the Lord and who walk in obedience to Him." So I think that verse gives us the basic understanding of spiritual discipline. Fearing God can be defined as a lot of things, but I'll just define it as us as Christians giving exhortation to God in everything that we do, because we are always in His presence. It can be with anything that we say, it can be with what we do, with what we see, with what we decide to hear. That is fearing God. A few past Sundays ago, I was attending church, and Reverend John Muyutu gave a very good sermon about fearing God. And what he said, if I can quote right, is a person who fears God has a fruitful relationship with Him and hates sin. I think that phrase itself says we only start to hate sin the moment we start to fear God. And for as long as we do not fear God, we'll never stop hating sin. The major problem we have today, I guess, is we focus more on doing what is right and what is wrong, and forget the most basic principle of Christianity that Matthew talked about in his gospel, which is to love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and to love your neighbor as you love yourself. I think the moment we start focusing on that as Christians, it will be easier for us to be spiritually disciplined, because it's easy to love someone, and it's easy to love God, and like you focusing on not doing them wrong, because once you get to love someone as a Christian, you will not want to hate them. So I think that's the best principle that can come to spiritual discipline. I think it's time we have to realize that being a Christian is not about avoiding sin, but instead it is about setting our affections on God. Our heart, our soul, and our mind should be set on God. The moment we do that, I think is the moment we realize that it's easy to be a Christian. I'll give a practical example, basic example. Two people in a relationship, which is the same thing as Christianity. We are in a relationship with God. If I focus on loving the person I'm in a relationship with, I will not hate them in any way, because hating them is going to hate me too. But if I'm in a relationship because I do not want to hate someone, it will be very difficult to love them, because if I love someone, it will prevent me from hating them, because it's going to come back to me at the same time. So I think it's very difficult for us to be spiritually disciplined at the moment, because we focus more on doing what is right and doing what is wrong, and we don't realize that we have been moved away from the law. Instead, we live by grace, and what Christ requires us to do is, as He said in Matthew, that all the 10 commandments have been put into two basic laws: love God and love your neighbor as you love yourself. like that spiritual discipline is going to be very easy for us.
Yeah, hallelujah, amen.